My experience with depression did have a triggering event, but looking back, I can see a lot of events that were leading up to it now that I have a better understanding of myself and what my triggers are. It really started with a phone call. I got a call from the hospital saying that my girlfriend at the time was in a car crash, and they wanted me to come to the hospital. So I went to the hospital and discovered that her friend had been killed in the accident, and that my girlfriend had been burned over 50% of her body, and she would eventually lose both of her feet to the burns. She would then spend about 13 months in the hospital. At the time, I didn't go into a depression. I actually did the opposite. I went into a Superman mode. I was going to take this on. I was going to take care of her. We were going to get through it together. Fast forward a couple years later, and we were married at the time. We were expecting our first child. We were building a house. I was starting a business. I had a lot of really good things going on in my life. What I didn't recognize was that all of these good things were piling on the stress. And I was speaking with a friend one day who lived up the road, and he was also building a home. And he said to me, you know, I just found out from the city that we're all going to have to put in a bunch of money to get our sewer upgraded. And for some reason, that little extra piece of stress was the thing that triggered it. And in that moment, my vision went blurry. I had trouble concentrating. It felt like all the oxygen went out of the room, and I just immediately stopped the conversation and walked away. I went out to my car just to sit and sort of regroup, and eventually my wife came out and found me and asked me what was wrong. And I said, I don't know, but I think you need to take me to a doctor. So I went to a walk-in clinic and spoke with the doctor, and he said I was probably having a panic attack. So he gave me some medication to deal with it at the time, and I recommended I follow up with my family doctor, which I did. I explained my symptoms to my family doctor, and he said, you know, you sound like you're a really good case for SSRIs or an antidepressant. I said, well, you know, I'm willing to give it a try. So he gave me the medication, and it wasn't that this little pill that I took with my toast in the morning suddenly solved all of my problems, but what it did do was turn on a light. It felt like a light had gone on in my world, and that this darkness that I had been living under, I realized was really just an internal thing. It was more about how I was perceiving the world than how the world really was. But it gave me the space to examine myself and realize that I need to fit in with my community, that I need people around me, that isolating myself is a really bad idea, even though that's where I tend to go. And it gave me the strength to just start to make small changes. Little things like sleeping better, eating better, taking initiative to connect with friends, to talk about the way that I was feeling. All of these little things that I was able to do just because I had a little bit of relief because a doctor had helped me, they all started to add up to something bigger. And it's become a life where I can't help but admit that I have a really good life and it's worth living.